that matter, has been going on for some time now. You have stories gone by of the police gunning down, persons who they suspect to be armed robbers. Now it is your very own, that has been gunned down by other colleagues. How do we ensure that this, wrong targeting of people, shooting them, killing them, really unnecessarily, for the lack of better expression, does not happen too often? What are the strategies you put in place, because it's becoming one too many?
I think we have in place capacity building programs for our officers, and we take it from there. Having said that, I think incidents like this calls for soul searching and the ability for the service to get back on their feet and put measures in place. For us, it is not one too many, because the Ghanaians are confronted with violent criminals and criminality at home and in their communities, and we are called upon to respond, to deal with such situations in real time, and in the process, so things do happen that either police officers are being shot at, and the state expects the police officer to also defend him or herself if all other defensive mechanism have prefigured to the extent of using a lethal weapon at that level. And sometimes these things do happen, but not too many. But what is that it's an unfortunate situation, and we should also understand that police was responding to armed robbery,
distress call. But then I understand that. But I understand that, But here's the case where you say that it's not one too many for you. But here's the case where it's been happening. Anytime it happens and an innocent person becomes a victim of a wrong target by the police, all we get is an apology, but the life is lost. I mean, this time around we were talking about two hardworking young policemen who obviously were doing their job. So beyond the apology, what mechanisms or strategies are you putting in place to ensure that this wrong targeting and killing people would stop? Because it's as though people argue you're taking advantage of this shoot to kill policy, because it's a moving vehicle. You could have shot the tires, slowed the movement or something.
Sometimes at the robbery scene, you may be thinking of this, but in real robbery scene, you end up taking the course of the state. That when a suspected armed robbery is escaping from a scene, among other things that you're supposed to include what the officers did, but this time we were not successful and then gunned down our own. So for us, we, like I said, capacity building is ongoing, and police officers will be trained in the use of weapon, among others. Again, we as a service will continue to roll out the visibility strategy to ensure that we intensify patrol to show police presence in order to prevent crimes situationally, so that though the persons who are planned, who have the target, who have the opportunity, and who want to strike, may find it difficult, because though the target is there, the opportunity to strike may be difficult because police personnel are there. We have vigilant community, and our service line, the hotline 191 is working, so that it will make our response time to scenes very, very minimal, and that will deter people from committing. So we will need to roll out this integrated policing strategy in order to, so how we are targeting the personnel capacity building. We will look at how to logistically and operationally also deploy at strategic positions and intensify mobile patrol and foot patrol, and so that we deal with this unfortunate incidents in the past. Because for us, the peace includes ensuring that police personnel are deployed at all places, day and night, to assure the general public, both old and young, that they can go about their normal duties without any fear, and that they will be able to exercise their guaranteed rights in the Constitution. So for us, these are some of the things. But specifically, we need to continue with the weapon handling. We need to continue with discretionary use of weapons. We need also to ensure that our presence are felt and the general public become interested in some of these matters and relay information as soon as possible, so that people who are known to be robbers and living in our communities will be given up just 191 information to our information room nationwide, or as it will prevent some of these things, because policing is about the responsibility to protect. And so if we get forehand information, we will preempt the activities of some of these robbers, because one of the ways of dealing with robbery includes the deployment of this weapon, but when it comes later, it ceases to be one, and therefore we need to ensure that we get information. The personnel are regularly given the capacity and intensify our patrols.
I want to find out if the police force is trained on matters like this, and how you're actually trained to go about it, like what we find ourselves in now. If you go out before you actually shoot, watch out whom you're shooting, how you're shooting, whom you're targeting at, what you're targeting at, and things like that. Are you trained, and are you what you call cautioned that you could be a victim like these persons?
Yeah, we do this policing service at the peril of our lives. That one, every police officer knows. It's a clarion call from the state to protect, and therefore we are sometimes fall victims to our own service delivery. And so, with regard to training, I think it's at the core of police training. So for us, it's basic. But what is important is when you are dealing with a situation in real time, and at night, where marauding armed robbers are robbing and handling rough the Ghanaian, what do we do? And these are some of the things when people are actually using what do you call assault rifles and other firearms and shooting among others and trying to escape and don't care about life. Sometimes what do you do? Sometimes we use other strategies, but sometimes in real time you want to deal with it. And in dealing with it, you are sure that in certain instances you will have casualties to the extent of fatalities.
Last time I had a similar problem in my area, where there was a robbery case, there was a shootout, you could hear the gunshots. There was a policeman who lived around, so I called him, and the response he gave me was, I should contact the patrol team. So I did, but the explanation he gave me was he didn't want to go because he didn't know the area. And so if he gets to the area, at least if you know the area, you can go there undercover. You can't just go looking for where they could mistakenly also target you and shoot you.
That's right.
So he refused to go and asked that the patrol team comes along. But the patrol team too, the first time we were able to contact them, the response we got was, make sure they are there, because if we get there, they are not there. It's a waste of time.
I think that was that feedback you had was unprofessional, no policing. What we would like you to, in another instance, to do is just use your phone to dial 191 anywhere you are in the country when you are confronted with such a situation. And police officers around the clock will receive your call and relay the information. All the information we need from you is that where the incident is occurring, just where the incident is occurring, and your contact number, and they will.
But how effective is the 191 emergency?
But there's a
because sometimes you call them and
18555 is there.
18555.
18555 is Vodafone, and 191 is for all networks.
Oh, okay.
you call. It is one of the basic
so
the feedback is that sometimes you call and then you don't.
It is 24 hours and it can accept as many calls as possible instantly, and police officers will respond and deal with it, and they will relay your information, your concerns to a nearby patrol team who will proceed, or a team of them or a number of them who will come and deal with such a situation. So that is what is important. But Ghanaian, we must learn to be interested in incidents of crime and gather vital information, including vehicle numbers, including unusual persons that may be lurking around your community and your alleyways and streets, and give out some of these suspecting individuals for police process to start to deal with it, in order not to allow ourselves to be taken by unwarranted incidents of crime. So for us, we as Ghanaians, we need to be interested and give out information, even when it concerns our own.
Right.
Because when it comes to crime, when people start committing, one thing will lead to another, and before you know, somebody has been killed, and therefore we need to also be interested and relay information on 191, please. 191 should be a clarion number that every child, students, parents, and professionals should have at their fingertips, and store it on their phones, so that if you even store it, emergency number or police, anytime you are being threatened by, you just dial it and you give snappy information, and police will deal with the rest.
So 919 say it again. 191 is a central number for all police. I mean, for everywhere you are, a child, adult, school student, father, mother, whoever you are, even if you're an armed robber, call 911. Call
you giving yourself
191 because some of the short codes are restricted to certain networks, but 191 is actually for everybody, all networks. You can get in touch. So let's now shift attention from our hearts go out to these lost.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, they should be celebrated, of course. When you lose people like this, or your personnel, how do you celebrate them?
Oh, I think they are heroes. Sometimes even IGP will promote them posthumously, and there are other activities that will follow, but they are heroes. They die in course of their duty, and there are processes that police goes through in order to give them a befitting barrier and engrave their name. So the rest will follow.
Wow.
I'm battling with why you have to be promoted.
Oh, I'm saying that in certain instances,
so their families benefit
to promote them to a higher rank.
How does it benefit the families?
Oh, for me, it is not necessarily money. It has to do with the example that is there for all of us. The family and all that. We know we cannot get back the lost soul. Definitely you can't. But it shows that we recognize their contribution, their skills, their competence. It shows that, and it should assist the family to be proud of their own, because as it were, they exhibited professionalism and the spirit to die for one another. So for me, it might not be a piece, as it were, to satisfy all, but I think medallions and promotion in terms of rank it should be a motivation for the living, and for us to also rise to the occasion and long run, but stand tall and defend one's own jurisdiction, right, or assigned area of duty and all that.
There's a thing about the visibility policy,
so that
has been coming up as an issue. You these days see police parked patrol team vehicles parked at vantage areas.
And the checkpoints come earlier than before.
At least
Before
it's
they
not,
come around 9, 10 and above. But now I think after 7
you can see them.
they set up their checkpoints.
See, not the criticisms alone. I think when you're doing good things, we all see it, and then you have to be commended as well.
Change is coming. Your cherished Sky Digital TV will now be called First